You're listening to Infinite TBR, the podcast where we try not to buy more books. I'm Smack.
And I'm Gabi. Spoiler alert! We're going to avoid major spoilers, and when we can, warn when we're going to discuss a particular book in detail so you can avoid that part of the episode. You can also check the show notes for time-stamped flags identifying potential spoilers.
Because we went on so long in part 2, this is now
Part
three.
3.
Yes, this is part 3 of 3.
This is our trilogy!
Yay! So enjoy!
Future Gabi here. Just wanted to leave a quick note because twice during this episode we mentioned books without authoring them. One is the Outlander series by Diana Gabaldon, which I had to practice saying like 3 times because I can't make my mouth not say Gabaladon. And the other is Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia, which we mention on this podcast pretty much every month, but this time did not mention her name. So with that out of the way, enjoy the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Red. Nope, I got right. Bright red.
Which red? Bright red? Lavender House. By Lev A.C. Rosen.
Wow.
Rosen. R-O-S-E-N.
Rosen? That's
Rosen.
what I would say.
Sure.
The Mermaid, the Witch, and the Sea by Maggie Tokuda-Hall.
You win.
Do I?
I think so. If we're going off of which was more enjoyable for us, I did not enjoy that as much as I suspect
you
you
might.
might.
High expectations, though.
I did?
But you think I'd enjoy it more?
I suspect.
I still have I have an ebook copy and I have Gabi's copy. Because for a while, like, I was trying to read my ebook copy, but, like, I was in the midst of, like, a very heavy paperback phase.
Right.
And I still haven't finished.
Yeah. But
that
you
was very
loved
interesting.
The Lavender House.
I did really enjoy it.
And I'm not sure I would say I didn't.
I was surprised every time, like, I would start reading again by how much I enjoyed it, because it's on its face, like, a historical murder mystery is not usually my thing. And it's the 50s, and so there's a lot of queer phobia. And so the main character in this is a San Francisco detective who just got booted off the force because he was caught in a raid of a gay club. Yeah, it's bad. And so it starts with him. He's the only person in the middle of the day at this dive bar, and he just keeps drinking martinis, and he's like, once I've had enough martinis that I can't see straight, I'm going to go to the bridge that's not the Golden Gate one and jump. I know, he's super depressed. Because, like, that was his whole personality, was being a cop. And he's super repressed and ashamed of being gay, and why couldn't I have just blah, blah, blah. And this woman walks in who's, like, dressed to the nines, like, haute couture, from her sunglasses to her heels. And she's this older woman, and she sits down next to him, and she goes, I know why you were kicked off the force. And he's immediately like, don't call the cops on me! Yeah. And she pitches a job at him, basically. She lives...
Like, via blackmail? Or...
I mean, like, there's...
Lets him assume blackmails.
There's the assumption of, like, you have nothing else to do. And she looks at him, and she, like, very clearly understands that, like, he's getting drunk to die. And so she says, I have an option that might appeal more to you. And it turns out she lives in the Lavender House, basically. She lives... I want to say openly, but, like, it's only in this house. She lives with her wife, who she refers to as her wife, and they have a son who is gay, who they adopted, who also has his boyfriend who lives with them, long-term partner, and to maintain appearances, because this woman who walks in is the wife, who's unfortunately dead. It's a murder mystery! The wife died! And the main character is investigating in the house to figure out who killed her. But she manages this soap factory. That's her thing. And she uses lavender in a lot of her soap. And they adopt a boy who is gay and who is going to take over the soap empire. So in order for that to work in the 50s, he has a legal wife who is also gay, and her girlfriend also lives with them.
Wow, they sure have this all figured out.
And the girlfriend's mother, who is super fucking bigoted and does not like any of this, but has nowhere else to go and loves her daughter to the point of obsession.
Wow.
Also lives in this house. And just sort of, like, doesn't interact with them sometimes when she can't handle being surrounded by queers.
Cool.
Yeah. She was not my favorite. But, like, there's servants, the butler is also gay, and turns out the butler saw the main character in these gay clubs and knew he was a cop, and then heard he got kicked off the force and was like, we have an investigator that we can let into this house. How does this sound?
Oh, that sounds fun.
It's a really good story, and it's all the guys are World War II vets. All of them. And that has a really interesting facet to it, especially because, like, I didn't know this, but apparently queerness, gayness in the military during World War II was not a huge deal. Like, it was just sort of there, and then the war ended, and everybody was supposed to go back to their heteronormative lives, which was very interesting to learn about. And there's like, I can't remember what it is, because my queer history sucks. But there's this
That's not what we went to
phrase
school for.
that I know, right? That means three guys, the Paris something, I don't know, it's three guys all at once. And the sort of live-in boyfriend gets to be like, I was in two of those on the day of peace was declared. And like, these people are just really, like, they're very human.
Yeah.
And they have, and it, like, one part that sticks out a lot is the butler who was saying to the investigator, the main character, they're like, you're seeing these people, like, because there's this portrait in the dead woman's office, and it's just the most joyous painting you could ever see of these people, and they're happy, and they're clearly in love, and they're a family, and the butler sees the main character looking at this portrait and goes, you are seeing these people at their worst. This is as bad as they get. The rest of their lives are generally really happy. You're just not seeing it. Which is kind of sad, but, like, also reassuring, because, like, they're in this house together, and for most of the book, they're at each other's throats. Half of them don't even believe there's been a murder, and the ones who do are very frustrated by not being believed.
That's such an interesting setup.
I know! It's such a good book. And I didn't have a whole lot of attention to give to anything at that point, and it's a nice slim little novel, and it was just so different and interesting that, like, I don't know anything about the 50s, and so that part was very interesting. But yeah, very highly recommend it.
And I think Lev A.C. Rosen has a very interesting genre breadth, because
I think this might be their second pseudonym, or like their second like name that they publish under.
Yeah, the other one's L.C.
Yeah.
But the one I've read by him is All Men of Genius, which is a woman disguised as a man. And it's like a steampunk. She like wants to be an engineer, and that's how she gets to go to engineering school, basically. But I remember really enjoying that one. And then you have this. That's like secondary world.
Yeah, and this is just a straight historical.
Yeah, this is straight historical murder mystery. Yeah. And then he has Camp, which is like a gay YA, like high school teen drama thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just seems like a very interesting mix of... There's Lion's Legacy, which I always see, and I think that's like a space opera thing.
Really? That's very interesting.
Maybe? Blah.
Would probably read space opera by him.
Blah.
And the sequel is out. I've had the sequel.
Maybe, or at least Magic.
Ready to paint for like a week.
A gay Indiana Jones-like YA story, I guess. Maybe not a space opera. This cover just looks... Oh, it's just something else. It's like an artifact, and I always like see it in passing and think it's like a spaceship, but it's not.
Well, it still sounds interesting.
Anyway.
So I think I win.
I think The Mermaid, the Witch, and the Sea. The premise is that this down on her luck, because YA, so I think it's like either teenager or young adult, and her brother get involved with this pirate crew. Yeah. And their whole thing is they advertise their services to rich families that are trying to travel to these islands.
Pirates.
Yeah.
The whole pirate ship does this.
Yes. And so they're like, we're a very legit transport vessel, and we will transport you to these islands over here.
For this low, low price.
Yes. And a bunch of these rich families sign up, shove their family members on board and say bye, and then they're like, oh no, something happened in the month-long sea journey, and we never heard from them again.
When in fact...
this pirate crew just murders them all and then takes all their money.
Oh, they murder them? I thought they
they toss them overboard.
Wow.
And...
Oh yeah!
Yeah, this is like... So what one of my beefs was, this was darker than I expected going in. So this down on her luck main character and her very useless brother.
super used.
Super
I'm
you
saying
started
all this
this?
being like 20 pages in.
Oh, okay. Signed up to like be a part of this pirate crew so they can make any money because her brother like gambled
like
or
a
like drank
addict or
away.
something?
Yeah, he's like and lost all their money, and she was like, well, I guess I'm joining this pirate crew.
They had a goal, right?
Yeah.
Like she wanted to get home to somewhere or something.
They're trying to get to another like I think
they're trying to resettle somewhere.
Yeah, I think there's like a racial thing going on. Like
Yeah.
they're penniless orphans in this country that treats them like shit
Yes.
because of how they look. So they're trying to get back to the country where one of their parents comes from. So that was the goal, and they were almost there, and then he like drank or drugged away all their money.
He did something with Mermaid's blood.
Yeah, like, oh, yeah. Overnight. And then she's like, well, I guess we're joining this pirate crew then. And basically sells her soul to be able to, like, not literally,
but like,
yeah.
Compromises herself.
Yeah. In order to be, like, once you've joined this pirate crew, like, you do what they say.
Or you die.
Yeah, or you die. And then this other woman...
This is another one where she dresses up as a man. She takes on a male persona to be a pirate.
Yeah. I think it's come up, like, 3 times in the last half hour.
There's a word for that, too, when it comes up.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but... It sure has happened. And then this other woman gets traded away by her family, basically.
Yeah.
And, like, not
because
sold, but,
parents,
like, dowried.
Yeah. Her parents wanted a son. Her mother, and possibly her father. Her mother knows she's gay and has been in a years-long relationship with her maid. And her mother does not approve.
Nope.
At all.
Nope.
So they separate the maid and the woman and...
ship her across the ocean.
Yep. It's like a tradition where you ship your daughter across the ocean with her coffin full of gold or whatever.
It's effed up.
Yeah, it's fucked up. So, like, they can both live and die over there.
Because, I mean, it's a very long journey, so...
You're not coming back.
So, obviously, she ends up on this pirate ship.
Yep.
And then they strike up a rapport... I don't remember why, but like the pirate main character ends up basically babysitting her while they're going across. And so they're like developing this relationship and like starting to have feelings for each other. And then like, you know, they have to do the pirate thing and they have to make some decisions and things kind of go from there. So
Does that happen relatively early in the book?
So it's kind of divided into thirds.
Okay.
Mermaid, witch, sea.
Oh.
And so that's like the first kind of like, I think the first third ends with those decisions and those consequences.
Oh boy.
So I thought it was really well crafted. I remember thinking that the like beginning was really slow.
Okay, that's why
the middle was very excellent. And then the ending was like too rushed. It was kind of like I thought it was well crafted, but like the pacing was off.
That's really good to hear that the beginning was slow though.
Yeah.
Every time I go back to it, I read I reread the first like 8 pages.
Right. Because it's very like setting up their personalities and like where they are in their lives.
A big bummer.
And they're like literally just like on a boat waiting to get to the point where the pirates are going to throw them all overboard. Right. So it's just like everyone's killing time. Mm-hmm. So it's like there's not much happening other than them getting to know each other. And on the one hand, I'm like, I'm glad that she's taking the time to make them get to know each other instead of just like insta love kind of thing. But the consequence is it feels very slow without anything else happening.
Yeah.
So, and then, like, I didn't love the characters that much.
Oh, no.
Like, I didn't particularly like either of them. Like, the one was too naive. And, like, that's her whole thing. And I think she, like, recognizes it in herself.
Okay.
But I was, like, I don't know. I found it exhausting.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that becoming an issue. Because even at the beginning, she, like, gives her mother the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Like, maybe she doesn't hate me. Maybe she doesn't know I'm gay. Maybe she doesn't know about this relationship. Maybe she's not doing this to ruin my life, when in fact,
and like
her
because
mother is
she's
like maliciously attacking her with this,
and she's very like is coming from this very privileged background, and doesn't adequately understand the way her actions impact people who aren't as privileged, like this maid that she was in this relationship with, and her future is probably ruined.
Yeah, it is,
presumably
because she won't get a good recommendation.
Right.
and can't go anywhere else without a good recommendation.
And it is very consistent with, like, her character is very consistent with her background, so it's hard to fault it, but it makes it hard to, like,
cheer for.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, like, Miss Pirate over here is, like, kind of cool, but, like, hard to connect with.
Okay.
Because she has this very, like, cold logic, like, I gotta, like, this morally gray, I'm doing what I gotta do thing. Yeah. And so, like, interesting. I thought well crafted, except for, like, the weird pacing issue. Just, like, more not for me than anything else. Yeah. And I am very interested to think what you think if you ever manage to get through it.
I will. Maybe not this month, but I will.
Right.
All right. So I win!
You do win!
I win!
Was this the... This is the loser.
Yeah.
What color?
Green.
Okay.
Do you have any green left?
No, but I'll just pick one.
Okay. A Snake Falls to Earth by...
Oh no, this is gonna be... We're gonna fight.
Oh no!
A Snake Falls to Earth is by Darcy Little Badger.
Oh!
And The Salt Grows Heavy is by Cassandra Cobb.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
We're gonna fight.
Oh my god.
We're gonna fight, I know.
I cannot even tell you how much I loved The Salt Grows Heavy.
You don't have a hard copy of that, right?
Nope. And you won't love it as much as I did.
But
there's this amazing queer platonic relationship.
I know. I think of her stuff, I think this has the best chance of me liking it.
Yes. But it's super dark and incredibly weird and twisted. And I'm describing all of her books right now.
Yep. Yes, you are. She's
got a brand
type and she nails it.
Oh, so well in this one. This was so good. Okay, so the premise is the Little Mermaid was there against her will and with the prince.
Ooh.
Yeah. And she's not just a mermaid. She is part deep sea creature. Yeah. And she...
Get it, girl.
He has to use all this horrible magic to keep her from turning back into a mermaid, including not feeding her. Because if she eats what she needs to, it will make her less human or to, like, negate the magic that's making her human. So at one point, he makes her eat her own tongue.
Oh, that's like that.
Because she has no voice. Little Mermaid has no voice.
Oh.
Yeah.
I get it.
But the book opens after she has given birth to fish spawn who hatch and then eat everyone in the entire kingdom, including their father. It's amazing. That's like the opening paragraph.
You can't see my face. I'm delighted right now. I'm like, when is it October again? I need to start making a list.
And so it opens with this great image of her leaving the palace. And she looks back and these two blue-eyed little baby monsters are sitting in an open rib cage and sort of like grooming their webbed fingers. Oh my god. And that was when I knew.
Beloved.
Yep. And so she's like, it's actually really sad because you get this great image and her kids don't need her at all. When her people are hatched, they live in communities.
They nailed it immediately.
Yeah. So like they don't need their parents, so they ate the dad. And she is the magic has made her too human to go back to the sea. So she's
like permanently?
Permanently. Oh, no. Yeah, so she's like, well, maybe I'll go do this in a different kingdom.
Yeah, kill all the humans. I got nothing better to do.
I was like, okay, I like this plan.
My God.
So she starts walking away with no food or provisions or anything, and then this non-binary person in a plague doctor getup walks up and is like, "Can I come with?"
Hi.
Yeah, and immediately you're like, "So why didn't they eat you?" and then they go off into the forest, and it turns out they're in like some sort of Russia-esque, Siberia-esque area.
Okay.
World.
Okay.
I think it's a secondary world.
Okay.
But it's Russia-esque.
Mm-hmm.
And
Fantasy
so there's
Russia.
snow and forests and freezing cold temperatures. But like, she doesn't need to eat much, and she'll eat anything.
anything.
And the plague doctor does fine. And they're not actually out in the wilderness for too long enough to establish a rapport and a seed of affection that grows, of a queer platonic affection. Yeah. And then they run across, one night, there's this group of children, kids, teenagers and younger, who are running through the forest hunting one boy. And they kill him and start celebrating. Get him. And the plague doctor basically like grabs the weapon from the one who killed the kid and is like, what the fuck are you doing? And they're like, it's fine. I can't remember what they call them, but they're these like priests. The priests will put him back together. So they what? So they pull out a certain part of his body, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's this weird little like.
This is such a snack book.
Anyway, so I shouldn't. It's a novella, so I shouldn't get too into the weeds.
Okay.
But like, they meet these 3 priest guys. These old they barely even seem human. Yeah. But like, they're ruling over this like clan of children and have them completely enthralled. And they're having the children like hunt each other and then bring the kids back to life with different body parts. And it deeply affects the plague doctor, and so they have to deal with that.
And there are no mushrooms.
There are no mushrooms, and there's an amazing epilogue. You are going to love this book so much.
Okay.
You are going to love this book.
I mean, I started
so
an October list, and now it's on the list.
Good. Oh, gosh. And also, can I just say, I read this when I was on a family vacation that didn't go super well.
Is this your plague vacation?
Yes.
They came up twice in the last episode. There are 2 books that came up and you were like, I read this while fever.
Yeah. I read this before the fever. This is probably when I picked up the fever. Because I was so unhappy and I was already physically uncomfortable from this other thing.
Yeah.
And so I went to hide out inside in the AC in what was the buffet room at this resort, and no mask.
Dun dun dun.
So that's 98% sure that's where I caught it, unfortunately. But I was so happy to just be left alone, and all of the servers and people who worked there were just kind of like, you're fine, just stay there. Aww. And I was like, thank you so much, I don't want to talk to my family anymore. Like,
sometimes you just need some space.
And so I spent a whole wonderful afternoon reading this bloody awesome book, and it was so good. It was so good.
So A Snake Falls to Earth is not this.
It's not that. This is not Darcy Little Badger's vibe at all.
A Snake Falls to Earth is about there's like a spirit world and our world. Okay. And there's a cottonmouth snake in the spirit realm who, like, you know, can shift form between his cottonmouth form and his
human form.
Okay. I think, if I'm remembering correctly. Pretty sure. Because I think his mom gives him, like, a backpack. Like, the whole thing is, it starts with his mom giving him a backpack of things and being like, okay, time for you to go. And make your own way in the world. Okay. And that's just, like, how it is with cottonmouths. You know, your siblings do the whole thing. I've made you this blanket. That is what you get. Bye. And, like, baby Cottonmouth is like, okay. And he just, like, starts making his way in the world. And such an ominous, like, greatly ominous start, because it's like, one of the chapters starts with, if he had decided to go this way at the fork, maybe this would have happened.
Oh my god.
And this would have happened. He would have found, like, a lovely place to stay, and it would have been fine. But he chose the other way.
Those are so amazing. I love those moments.
Yeah. So he is just so cute. And I couldn't handle it. And then in our world, there's this is so long ago. I'm definitely going to get some details wrong. But I think there's a girl who's, like, comparably aged. Maybe middle school?
Pretty sure it's a middle grade book, so.
I think it's a middle grade book, but for some reason it's a YA section at Mysterious Galaxy, but whatever. So, and her grandmother, they live in Tornado Alley, I think.
Oh.
Like in the Midwest somewhere.
I did not expect that sentence to end with, like, a real place.
I'm trying to remember more about what was going on in our world, because all I can remember is, like, adorable little Cottonmouth being like,
Off on an adventure.
Off on an adventure. And, like, the spirit world ends up with earth things every once in a while, but they don't last as long. Like, they start deteriorating immediately when they make it to the spirit world. My review's
like
useless. No, like object. If objects cross, like, I think people can cross if they know how. They're, like, a very specific way to cross over. Because the whole thing is, like, there's this parallel thing between the Cottonmouth and this girl, and, like, they're working toward crossing over. And I don't remember why... Like, weird things are happening in the spirit world, and the Cottonmouth, like, has his little gang of friends at one point, and they're like, we gotta save... Someone gets sick. No, sorry. Okay. So I'm remembering as I'm, like, raking through my memory. One of their friends gets ill, and the way,
Playbook?
No. The way... I mean, in a way. So the way things... It turns out the way things work in the spirit world is each spirit animal... is kind of a representation of that animal on Earth. So the better that animal is doing on Earth, the like the stronger
population.
Yeah.
Oh no.
And so has made friends with this particular species of frog in Texas, I think is where they are. That is like super endangered. And there was some traumatic, like some flood, like the big one,
like
not
Noah's
Katrina.
Ark?
No, like
Harvey?
the actual hurricane. Was it Harvey?
Harvey was in Houston.
Yeah. So I think either the implication was
Harvey,
that
Irma,
or something like a big hurricane comes through, wipes out
decimates
this
the
facility that that was trying to keep this
Oh,
species
no.
alive. So all of a sudden his friend
gets really
sick. And he like teams up with the other friends he's made, like a pair of coyote siblings and this eagle hawk creature, and this like super chaotic like a trickster basically, who changes shape and just like shows up to be chaotic for a second and then like disappears but will take the form of someone else. So you're never quite sure when the trickster is there or
I
if
love
it's
that
I know
so much.
It was so great. And so they all team up to like go to Earth and try to save their friend. And then, like, the kid on Earth...
How does that work, though?
So
like, unless you repopulate...
That's the thing. They don't know what's happening. So they're going to Earth to be like, is there anything we can do? What can we do? And the shenanigans they go through to, like, try and fix this problem is so cute. And then, like, there's the kid on Earth and, like, her family, her set of family issues. And, like, it's just so cute. And just so delightful. I'm like freaking out in the exact opposite way.
You don't usually freak out over books like this.
There is a particular scene that I think about.
Books like this. You don't usually freak out like this over books.
Right.
That I said it and I was like, that doesn't sound... Anyway,
there's a particular scene that I think about almost like at least once a month.
God damn it.
Where they're like trying to set up a scene for something, and they're trying to record Cottonmouth. Like, the Cottonmouth is supposed to be, like, really dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So he's trying to be, like, I'm dangerous. And they're, like, reviewing the footage, and the girl turns to him, and she's like, you're too cute. This is never gonna work. And, like, specifically, the phrasing was something like, and then the Cottonmouth, like, opened his mouth and, like, reared up in despair, and I just have like such a vivid mental image of this like little snake going, no, I'm too cute. And I just
the fact that it's a Cottonmouth too is
I
just
know
it's a good pick.
It's hilarious and adorable, and I cannot. Anyway, so I'll fight you.
I will. Oh God. So not actually fight. We're gonna. Okay. All right. I'm gonna pick scissors.
Okay.
I'm not gonna do paper.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, go! I was gonna do rock, and then I was like, no, what do my fingers do?
I was gonna do paper, and then I was like, nah.
I should have done paper. I want a complaint registered on this one because the song, it was so good. It was so good.
They were so cute.
They were so cute. They were so cute, and it was so macabre, but they were so cute. They were really cute. And there's this amazing moment at the end where she's like, no, I like you.
I think it would be very funny if next bingo you read A Snake Falls to Earth and I read A Salt Grows Heavy, and then we can fight again.
I like that plan.
Yay!
We gotta write that down somewhere.
Yes.
We'll put it on a spreadsheet and then we'll
Yeah.
definitely see it later.
Yeah. Pick a color.
Oh.
Any color. Tell Me I'm Worthless by... You've talked about that one on the podcast before.
I can't remember who it's by.
That was another October.
Jennifer something?
Allison Rumpet?
Never mind.
Nowhere Close.
And then mine is, well, the one that Gabby read is Trailer Park Trickster
Nah!
by David Lawston?
Slayton.
I'm getting closer.
That's the second in the...
Trilogy.
Yes. White
It's-
Trash Warlock.
Yes. So it goes White Trash Warlock, Trailer Park Trickster, and
Deadbeat Druid.
Deadbeat Druid. I was gonna say Demonic Druid. I was like, that's not it.
I mean, not far off. So we've talked about how obsessed I am with the...
Yeah, I think you win.
Really?
Because I wasn't obsessed.
Oh, I thought you were...
And it didn't stick with me the way I expected it to. I think about it fairly often, but I have more questions. I would reread it. But I think I'd get more out of it the second go around.
Okay.
And you love these
I do.
books. You love them.
I do.
So look at the size of that. Oh, that's all the winners. Still.
Yeah, that's all of them. Don't worry.
It's
I'm
mostly
still
yours though.
definitely destroying you.
Oh, thanks.
Affectionate.
Cinderella is Dead by...
I looked up because it used to be right there.
It used to be, and then I painted it. Caitlin, perhaps? Callan Bayron.
Huh.
Or Kaylin Bayron.
Oh.
K-A-L-Y-N-N. Bayron. Anyway.
The Enchanted Hacienda.
Oh my god, I will fight you.
I will not fight you on
that's
this one.
the Enchanted, not the
Yes, that is
Hacienda.
the Enchanted
Okay.
Hacienda by J.C. Cervantes, not to be confused with the Hacienda, which was on the last episode, by Isabel Cañas. So the Enchanted Hacienda is about...
I got trapped in the Hacienda.
Let you out!
So the Enchanted Hacienda is about this family of women who grow flowers.
Right, it's kind of Encanto vibes, right? Is how it was billed.
I think so. And they all have different magic, except for the main character.
Like Encanto, yes.
Yes.
Did you ever see Encanto?
I did not see Encanto. So when you say like Encanto, I just have to take your word for it. And she has this horrible, like, she loses her job, her boyfriend's an asshole and breaks up with her.
Boo hiss boo.
Yeah, it's just, her life descends into madness, so she goes home from New York to home. And I think it's in New Mexico, but don't quote me on that. And there's magic at home, and her family is at home, and then she also meets this guy that she has this really good spark with.
That's a face.
I don't know how much to say without spoiling things.
How did you feel about it?
There were parts that I really freaking liked. Like, I took notes on all the flower shit.
I wonder why.
Because I wanted to, like, the whole thing is just sprinkled with this flower means this, and this flower can do this, and this flower has this connotation. And, like, I really liked the casual knowledge that was just dropped through the whole story. I was less impressed with the main character's reaction to the relationships around her, which is very vague, but I don't want to spoil anything. She was a bit of a pushover through most of the book, but she did come into her own. I think that's all I can really say without spoiling things. I know this is, like, super vague, but
they'll read it.
Yeah. There's stuff that, like, I don't even know how to describe at the beginning that are really important later. So I know that wasn't really helpful. I would not go to war with you over this book.
Well, I'm not going to go to war over Cinderella's Dead, so this is going to be very interesting. Cinderella's Dead is like I think it's queer. Yeah, it's queer.
Yes, it's very queer. The main character's gay, I believe.
I think so.
Anyway, it's this dystopic secondary world where 200 years ago, the Cinderella fairy tale as we know it occurred in this world. And then
kind of sets the laws for that country.
Well, what everyone commonly knows of that story is the basis for all of these really restrictive laws. and this weird tradition where I think when girls are 16,
Yeah.
they have to go to the palace and try to win the hand of the prince.
So it's like they have to win the hand of someone. And they get 3 balls, 3 chances.
Right.
And then if they don't do it in 3, I think they get straight up murdered.
What? I don't remember that part.
I'm pretty sure they get disappeared if they don't, like, marry someone within, like, 3 tries.
Yeah, so they have 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And the main character is her first, and she is very in love with her best friend, who is very not okay
I forgot about that.
Her friend is more interested in staying safe.
Yes.
Than following her heart, which the main character is the opposite.
Yes.
And gets in a lot of trouble
and,
for
like,
it.
A very legitimate disconnect, and, like, the way they navigate that, I think, is very interesting. I feel like the way that her ex, I guess.
Her friend.
Yeah. Well, the
friend ex, the
way she ultimately responds to everything that happened, like, was kind of not about a cop out, but, like, they kind of made her into a not a good character.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, because I feel like that's a kind of a legitimate stance to take, to be like, I'm going to choose safety, and I'm sorry that hurts, and that, but, like, they don't have a clear communication. Anyway, beside the point. It's why.
There's only so much communication.
And I don't remember, does she just kind of, like, escape? I don't remember what happens at the ball.
Shenanigans.
She finds Cinderella.
Oh, that's right.
She, like, stumbles into Cinderella's grave.
Yeah.
And then, like, somehow wakes her back up.
No. She's dead. That woman is dead.
I'm thinking she finds someone else.
She finds maybe it's a stepmother.
There's someone else. With all the sisters.
The stepsister.
Yeah.
So the love interest turns out to be, like, the proper love interest.
Right,
turns out to be a descendant of one of the stepsisters.
That's right.
Who are unfairly maligned in the present day common knowledge.
Uh-huh. So part of the story is ironing out what actually went down.
Yes. I will say, like, in my review, I read it like a year before you got to it. So I'm a little fuzzy on it.
That's one that had been on the Smack shelf for a long time.
I was so deeply impressed because retellings are a dime a dozen.
Oh yeah. In terms of retellings, this was really
like
good.
This is how you tell a retelling.
Yes.
This is how you build something.
Oh, this story
new.
that you know?
Yeah.
It has resulted in this kind of society, this dystopia.
And this is what people think it has resulted into. And this is what has actually happened. Mm-hmm. And this is the part that no one knows that we're going to cover in the story. And so, like, to use the bones of a fairy tale it is a retelling, but it's
telling a different story.
Completely different story.
Yeah.
And it, like, that's
how you do it.
That's how you do it.
Yep.
And I was so deeply impressed by that alone. I'm selling your book again, aren't I?
Yes, you are.
God damn it.
Thanks. But I'll do the opposite. My review, okay, because again, I don't remember a whole lot, but my review said it was very consumable writing, because I do remember, like, tearing through it. It was very readable. Excellent premise, which we just talked about. Great characters. But I said a lot of the plot developments were predictable, wholly, or way too convenient.
Wholly,
and by,
had
plot holes.
Not was divine.
Right, correct. Whole E. And by the end, I felt like a lot of the takeaways were spoon-fed to the reader.
Yeah.
Like, just kind of, like, said a lot of her points instead of
letting us
get there ourselves.
Yeah.
So I agree, like, in terms of, like, that is how you do a retelling.
Right.
But there were some...
could have been done better.
It could have... Some smaller details could have been done better.
It was her debut. The rest are probably better. So, as a debut, good job.
Good job! But yeah, so...
I mean, there were
You've read both.
I have read both.
Which would you recommend first, or reread first, or which did you enjoy more?
I think I'd go with the Enchanted Hacienda.
Okay.
Yay, I won one!
Last one before we find out who won.
She's so excited right now, it's awful. She has her evil face on.
I have an evil face.
Well, I didn't think you did, but now you definitely do.
It doesn't come out often.
This is The Secret Skin.
Oh man, I need to remember what that's
That
by
was Gabby's
when.
read. I have no idea who it's by.
You've read that one.
The Secret Skin?
You absolutely have. That's a who's what's it? Sorry,
That's
Neon Hemlock novella by Wendy N. Wagner.
By Wendy Wagner.
The one that you said. Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
I was gonna say you know
I
what
haven't
this
read
is.
it since it came out.
I know, it's been a while. I'm trying to remember what it's about.
It's a haunted house gay story.
It's a haunted house.
Yeah, where the main character comes in and is married to the guy and falls in love with his sister or something.
Oh, yeah, her brother comes back with the...
Oh, so it's her brother and her brother's wife.
Right.
Yeah, so the house is haunted. It's a haunted house.
Yeah, it's a haunted house
gay
story.
haunted house story.
Novella.
Yes. Little itty bitty story. It's good.
It was good. I don't remember it very well, which probably says a lot in and of itself. Yours is Where Ivy Dares to Grow.
Oh.
Which is...
another haunted house story.
by...
sort of.
Mary L. Thompson.
I had high hopes for that one, and they did not deliver.
Interesting.
But I had, like, really high hopes.
Right.
It's like a time travel story where the main character marries into, or is about to marry into this family, and goes with her fiance to his, like, ancestral home. And I don't remember why she stays with him, but, like, he's awful. His family is awful. She has no business being anywhere near such toxic people.
Yikes.
Who are clearly, like, deliberately suppressing her spirit type thing. Like, putting her down and just really abusive situation. And then she slips through time. And she goes back and she falls in love with one of his ancestors.
Weird. And you think I'd like this? You put it on the Smack show.
I sure did. I sort of remember how it ends, but I don't know how it got there.
This has gotten really hard now that it's been so long since we read
know.
these. I said about The Secret Skin that it was great gothic and spooky haunted house vibes and packed a lot into a short read. But I also thought that as a consequence, they went a little light on characters and their complicated relationships. Were a really interesting choice of time and place and a scathing critique of quote-unquote polite society.
Well, I gave it 5 stars.
I gave mine 4 stars, so... And you've read these both,
I've read them both, and I don't remember what the other one... What was it called?
A Secret Skin.
Where Ivy...
Oh, yours, Where Ivy Dares to Grow.
Oh my god. That's Loki. Like, punch.
We're watching the snores go by on the audio feed.
He's had a really long, hard day.
He's been sleeping pretty much the entire time we've been recording. I don't think he's ever, like, slept that constant. Like, usually at some point he gets up and
he wanders around.
Yeah.
Like, he's out,
He's
man.
out.
We had such a stressful day. There was screaming at the neighbors involved. Not me. I was not screaming. He was screaming.
Important claim.
Yeah. I don't scream at the neighbors. But my dog
Sure does.
Okay, so part of why I had such high expectations is that they bill Where Ivy Dares to Grow as Mexican Gothic meets Outlander.
Oh, wow.
Those are some high expectations. And I haven't read Outlander. My mother has watched all of them, read all the books. She loves it. And, like...
I heard that it gets rapey, so I was like, no
I've heard
thanks.
the second season gets rapey.
Unsubscribe.
Yeah. But they're ending the show next year. Last season. So I could see blowing through it.
Mm. Well, if you do that, let
Although,
me know
like, coming in while my mother's watching this shit and, like, getting weird moments.
out of context.
Yeah, it's, like, weird out of context stuff where, like, at one point the main characters are, like, I don't even know what. They're joking about, like, what to do with Jamie's body after he dies.
That means nothing to me.
Jamie's the main guy. The main Scotland guy.
So just give away
No.
something that
No,
happened.
that's, like... No, it's, like, a out of context moment.
Okay.
So at some point in the 7th season, he and what's-her-face, Claire, are joking about what to do with his body. Because there's been a funeral or something. Somebody else died and she goes,
I thought you were saying, like, he died?
No.
And they were talking about what to do with it. I was like, that sounds like a big spoiler.
No. They're hanging out, having a little hug, a little snuggle. And she goes, what do you want me to do with your body if you die? And he goes, well, I'll probably die on the battlefield, so you should just leave me for the carrion crows. And they go, you. And I was just like,
Okay.
This is one of the most horrifying things you can say to someone, and they're just, like, it was a very, oh, you response, and I was
That is not the way that conversation should go.
And it happened twice, because he said it once as, like, a joke, and she was like, no, really, what would you like me to do? And he goes, well, I don't know, there was leave me for some other animal on a battlefield. Did we wake you? Nope. The sleepy baby. Sleepy baby. Anyway, so
Outlander meets...
Yeah, Mexican Gothic, which is also...
Which is not what it was.
High bar. Yeah, it was not Mexican Gothic. I mean, like, it was Mexican Gothic in that the family that she was going to marry into was horrific. But, like, yeah. So I mean, reading, like, going back to that comp, I'm immediately, like, disappointed again.
Uh-huh.
But, like, it had...
And I was definitely not disappointed in The Secret Skin.
Yeah, I gave that one 5 stars. Fine!
We could rock, paper, scissors. You could try to win rock, paper, scissors one more time.
I'm just gonna embarrass myself. Okay.
1, 2, 3, go! 1, 2, 3, go!
No! I don't know why you're so bad at that. How is it possible? I don't know!
This defies
all
rock, paper,
statistical
scissors
probability. And yet...
Okay, we gotta find some other way to break ties next year.
Yeah,
no,
we're not
roll
doing
a dice.
Yeah, I can do that. We'll do evens and odds.
Surely that'll
be a little more equitable. Oh, God,
incredible.
I don't think I've always been this bad at it.
It's just us.
Because I think I would have noticed.
Is this it?
No, I threw it.
Oh, okay.
It's way over there.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, let's do this.
Guess what the final score was?
I can't remember how many the total was.
20.
Was it as bad as 12 to 8?
Yes.
Was it?
Uh-huh.
It was 12 to 8?
No.
It was worse. Great.
Only barely. Barely.
7 to 13.
Uh-huh.
That's a bad... You destroyed me.
It seems worse than it actually is because for every one it shifts, it's like 2. So it's really like 3. You know
That doesn't make any sense. For every one, it's like 2, so it's like every 3.
Well, like 13 to 7 is a difference of 6, but it's actually just a difference of 3 because if you had won another one, it would have been 12 to 8. If you had won 2 more, it would have...
That doesn't make it better. I appreciate you trying.
I tried. But yay, I finally won a Throwdown Showdown!
She beat me so bad.
With
I made
the
you
power
nervous.
of rock, paper, scissors, which I think I won at least 6 times.
At least. At least. My God, absolutely
Truly,
destroyed.
if you had statistically won rock, paper, scissors as often as you should have, we would have tied.
I'm glad you worked that out. That's really something I needed to know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You're welcome. So here's hoping.
Here's hoping that you are better at rock, paper, scissors than I am. Here's hoping you are even marginally better at rock, paper, scissors than I am.
The funny thing is,
statistically normal at rock, paper, scissors, apparently.
I think that's essentially how we ended the first episode.
Are you serious?
I think that was here's hoping.
Well, it got worse.
Amazing.
Thanks for listening. This has been another episode of Infinite TBR.
You can find us online at infinitetbr.com. You can email us at itbrshelf@gmail.com. And we're also on Instagram at
Infinite TBR Podcast.
And individually on Instagram
at Gabbledon, which is like Megalodon, but with Gab in the front of it.
And at what_Smack said, because Instagram locked me out of at what Smack said. So
here we are.
Here we are. See you next time.